For days now, thousands of KwaZulu-Natal children have been forced to go to school on an empty stomach. And the province's Department of Education doesn't seem to have a solution. This after the collapse of the KZN National School Nutrition Programme due to tender irregularities and corruption. eNCA's Lethiwe Mdluli has the details and joins me from Durban. Lethiwe, so you visited Harding on the south coast today. Have you been able to speak to any of those affected directly?
Well, I have been able to speak to parents, teachers, principals. We went to many areas in Harding that have been hit hard by the fact that they haven't had or have had any deliveries at their schools. Approximately 5,400 schools across the province of KwaZulu-Natal are affected by this. And in speaking to the parents, they are very concerned to the fact that their children are basically going to school on an empty stomach, and they have to pay attention in class and learn while they haven't eaten. A lot of the parents that I spoke to are living in rural areas and they are not working. So their main concerns are that the Department of Education has failed them, and of course they are looking for answers. I also spoke to teachers as well that have to deal with the pupils in class, and they are saying that a lot of pupils are unable to pay attention in class because they are hungry, so they need solutions ASAP. In speaking to the principals, they did say that all the principals in the Uku district some time ago were called by their district or their circuit managers, and they were told that there's going to be a change in the food nutrition program, and but the principals did not want any changes because they saw that the system that they were using was working, and of course they had a lot of questions for the Department of Education as to why they were changing the system when it wasn't broken. But a lot of places that we visited today, mainly in rural areas, are saying that basically their children are not surviving and they need the department to find solutions because this is a dire need. The whole system is in dire need. And I spoke to one parent who has been struggling for some time, and he shared with us that his child is diabetic, and of course he's very concerned that going to school on an empty stomach, having to sit in class and listen, is going to basically not going to work because that child is hungry for most of the day. In speaking to that parent, this is what he had to say.
Hey, this is affecting us big time, man, because now our children are hungry. They're going to school hungry, so they're at school. Some of our children are diabetic. Now they have to have something in their system to eat. Now there's no food being provided by the schools because of this nutrition stuff that I'm hearing around.
Yeah. How these last 3 days, because what were you told by the school? Were there any explanations?
No, I was never told any explanations. Just know I know my kids come back home, they're very hungry. They're telling us there's no food there for them to eat.
Yeah. Lethiwe, what is the department saying?
Well, we did call the Department of Education in the province requesting an interview because we had a lot of questions around the tender processes. What we do understand from some of the suppliers that have been left in the ditch by the department is that the department has awarded the tender, which is a multi-million rand tender, to one person in the province. And that supplier now has to supply all the schools in KwaZulu-Natal with food. But unfortunately, they have failed because since Wednesday, when the schools reopened, the food has not been delivered. And the suppliers that we spoke to are saying that there needs to be an investigation as to how one person was just awarded the tender. They are saying that previously the department used to work with various people in each district across the province, and the system worked because those suppliers were local suppliers and they were using local businesses to source the food, and they would know exactly which school they needed to go to. So now that only one person has been given this tender, it's creating a problem, and this is why the food has not been delivered. In trying to speak to the department about this, trying to get some answers from them, unfortunately they declined an interview, and then they released a statement, two statements, basically saying that they've been facing some logistical issues, or the main supplier that they chose to award the tender to has been facing these issues. The suppliers are also saying that if the main supplier that was chosen by the department was competent, these problems would not be happening. In speaking, or in the voice notes that the Department of Education provided to us, the MEC had this to say.
As the MEC for Education in KwaZulu-Natal, I have received the reports informing me of the challenges in the delivery of food items to some schools that are beneficiaries of the National School Nutrition Program in our province. I was disturbed when I learned that there were logistical challenges on the part of the main service provider. I have since directed the HOD and the top management of the department to engage the affected districts and stakeholders in order to understand the root causes of the challenges. This unfortunate situation currently faced by our schools, communities and service providers is deeply regretted. The department and the stakeholders have been working around the clock to resolve these challenges. I wish to reaffirm our commitment towards providing all our 2.3 million learners with nutritious meals as expected.